What is going on, guys? This is Xbox Architect here, and I'm coming at you today with a mini tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a tennis court. It's very simple. Maybe you're trying to build something like a rec center that, has a whole bunch of these tennis courts, or maybe you just want to add something to your own build to kind of spice up the property a little bit. This is the video for you. Now, I will say ahead of time, this is the proportion that I've discovered looks the best. And I think scale-wise, in terms of actually keeping in mind the size of the character, it seems to work pretty well. So you can make them smaller. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could even make them bigger. But in this particular video, I'm going to show you what I usually do when I make these for my own builds. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so let's start off with some basic dimensions here. The actual tennis court itself is going to be 31 blocks long by 21 blocks across, so if you just want to build the tennis court itself, that's the space that you're going to need, but I am going to go ahead and add a couple things around the perimeter. So in this case, if you want to follow along, make sure you have 35 blocks by 25 blocks carved out instead of 31 by 21. Now I'm just going to go across my little scroll bar on the bottom, and I'm going to show you guys all the materials that you're going to need. You're going to be able to fit everything in right here without having to replace any blocks in the future. So first of all, you're going to take smooth quartz block, green terracotta, iron bars, nether brick fence, end rods, oak leaves, smooth quartz slabs, and smooth quartz stairs. You can just disregard this lantern. We're not actually going to need to use that. Alright, so now that we have our dimensions and all of our materials picked out, let's just go ahead and start building this thing. What we're going to start by doing is just cutting a rectangle that's 31 blocks long by 21 blocks across. Alright, so now that we have this rectangle carved out, it should be 31 blocks long by 21 blocks across. All we're going to do now is just take all the material in the center, and we're just going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, so now that we have all of our material on the inside carved out, the next thing that we're going to do is take our smooth quartz block, and we are going to start laying out all the lines of this tennis court on the inside of this open rectangle right here. So what you're going to start by doing is leaving 3 blocks of space from the perimeter of this whole entire cut out rectangle, and you're going to create a smaller miniature rectangle on the inside. So again, you're going to want to leave 3 blocks of space right up against this larger rectangle and just create a smaller inner rectangle. Once you have this smaller inner rectangle, let's just go ahead and take the same block, and we're going to create a line all the way across just like this, and we're going to leave 1 block of space away from these long edges. So now you should be left with that. Next thing you're going to do is find the exact center point along the longest portion here, which in this case is going to be right there, and you're just going to come all the way across. Now, these 2 larger squares on the inside right here, all you're going to do is again find that center point, which in this case is here, and only come across right inside each of these squares. Make sure you're not bringing this out into this one block space opening on either side. Now once you have that done, take these innermost rectangles and again find that center point, and we're just going to come across in the other direction, and we should be left with something that looks exactly like this. Next thing you're going to do here is you're going to take your green terracotta and you are going to fill in this entire rectangle and all the spaces in between these white lines that we just laid down. Let's just go ahead and do that. Alright, so now this entire rectangle should be filled in, including all the lines for your tennis court. And the final step that you're going to take here when you're actually building the tennis court itself is grabbing iron bars, and you are just going to take these and go all the way across this center line, just like that. And that essentially is going to be your net. Next thing we're going to do here, now that we have the actual tennis court completed, is we are going to go ahead and add some lights. So go ahead and take your nether brick fence and go ahead and place one in each corner of the larger outside rectangle. And then we are also going to place right on the center line of the tennis court, right on the edge of the outer rectangle. So now these are our placeholders. All we have to do now is raise these up to be 7 blocks high. Now once you have all these posts with the nether brick fence built up to be 7 blocks high, all you're going to do is on the inside facing in towards the tennis court, just bring that top one out one, and then right underneath it go ahead and place an end rod. Go ahead and do that for all 6 of these posts. Top one, and then right underneath an end rod. Now we have this whole thing built. There's just another couple of final steps that we're going to take here. What you're going to grab is your smooth quartz block, and you are going to come into any of these corners, but make sure that you are on the long side of the tennis court instead of on the shorter ends. Now when you're on the long side here and you're placing one brick right outside of this larger rectangle, go ahead and place consecutive smooth quartz blocks and leave 3 blocks of space in between each one. And you should have a quartz block right on the center line of the tennis court. Go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Place one directly on the outside corner, and then consecutively place blocks with 3 blocks of space in between. Now on these ends right here, what we're going to do is count 4 blocks of space, just like this, and do the same thing on the other side. And then you're just going to go ahead and place one more block directly in the center facing this way. So you should on the ends have 4 blocks of space in between on the ends. And you should have 5 blocks of space in between in the middle. Go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Next thing that we're going to do here is we're just going to take smooth quartz slabs and we are going to place slabs in between all of these blocks except for these 2 openings on either side of the center light post in the middle of the tennis court. Again, leave these 2 open on either side of the center light post. Now, all of these larger quartz blocks that we have sticking up, what we're going to do is take smooth quartz stairs and we are just going to place one directly on the outside of each of these blocks. Go ahead and fill in all sides of the corners just like this. These dudes need to get the heck out of here. Guys, if anybody has a way to get rid of them, I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but they are just so annoying. They always get in your way. Get pretty sick of it. Alright, so now that we've put all those stairs around each of those quartz blocks, what we're going to do is take oak leaves and fill in all the space directly in between the stairs. Except we are still going to leave these 2 center openings open. And the last final step that we're going to take here is grabbing smooth quartz slabs and just placing 1 slab on top of each of the quartz blocks, which are right behind each of the stairs you just placed. Just go ahead and go around the entire perimeter and place one on top of each of the blocks. Alright guys, that is going to wrap up this build. Obviously, if you were in it just for the tennis court itself, that's completely fine, but if you did go ahead and add any of these perimeter elements with the bushes and the quartz, I should mention that these openings on either side of the middle of the tennis court right here are essentially just your walkways to get in and out, and assuming that you guys are building these on your own personal builds, I'm just going to say, go ahead and fill in those blank spots with whatever block you choose to. Whatever works for what you're doing is completely fine. Or you could leave them blank. Or if you wanted to, you could even go ahead and bring out that green terracotta so that it matches. It's all left up to interpretation. If you guys liked this video, if you enjoyed this build, please go ahead and hit that like button. And obviously go ahead and hit that subscribe button too, because I will have a bunch more content coming out for you, including small tutorials like this, full-on house tutorial building series, and tours of my own personal builds. So with that being said, I'll see you later.